This conference will now be recorded.
All right, it's 3 o'clock. It is March 3rd, 3 p.m. We will bring the Stoneybrook Advisory Committee to order, and we have a quorum. Joe McCulk is here, JT Thomas is here, Thomas Roller is absent, Virginia Stacy is here, Angela Sullivan is here, Warren Davies is here, and Chris Capiella is here. Let's see. First off, let's take a quick look, if you haven't already, take a look at the minutes for February 3rd. And I'd like to have, when you're ready, a motion to approve these things. Yeah. Move to approve.
That's good.
Okay. We have a motion. Any discussion on the minutes? Any changes or anything necessary? Do I have a second on that? Virginia, so Warren Davies moves to approve the minutes, and Virginia seconds to do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved unanimously. Yeah. All right, this number 3, discuss the new IQ monthly maintenance for the gate arms. Chris, can I assume that, we're good to go and that went out and it was signed and we're ready? Okay, and that starts like immediately?
Yeah, it's basically they gave you a price and monthly maintenance and asked them for pricing on different pieces.
Well, was it monthly or was it an annual $1,000 and some odd dollars?
I think it was 1,000.
And that was for the year?
1050,
Yeah, for the year. Do you know if we paid the whole thing up front?
No, I could go check.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
On the at the last meeting, we looked at that list of parts and pieces that they had.
Yeah, we'll get down to, I think that's number,
Oh, we have, okay,
6.
okay.
It's on there.
I was gonna wonder.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll,
Okay.
just to keep it clear, yeah, the 2 items.
My question is, this is the only amount that we should be spending throughout the 12 months. Of course, when someone breaks the gate going through, those are always,
Well, what they'll do is maintain, but that does not necessarily pay for the repair. Okay?
Right.
And
it's someone's
I would
responsibility.
believe that we're getting some greater consideration and we won't be paying penalties for getting called late or weekends as a result of being on their maintenance system.
Well, it says service calls outside of normal business hours on an emergency call of $100 plus 1 hour minimum at the after rate of $150 per hour, billed 1/10 of an hour thereafter.
That's on the
That's
front
after
page.
hours, but it doesn't have anything it doesn't say anything about what the normal,
Well, that's not an
per hour is.
absolute agreement. That's an addendum. How'd you make out with that?
Well, IQ set up, we have their W-9, they've gotten some, I guess $10,000, they bill it pro rata monthly.
Okay, so how they did it?
Right.
Okay,
And,
that's good.
But you had Cypress Access come out a couple weeks ago and fix the gate arm.
That was because we had a new cam that
Right.
didn't know any better.
Right.
Yeah,
And
didn't know
so she
better.
called from that list, so we
Yeah.
had bills. for both.
We got to pay.
But anyway, set up.
Okay.
so what's their,
Do
what's
you
their,
not have any idea what the Cypress bill was, just for information? We didn't see it. All right, that's all right. It is what it is at this point in time.
what's their hourly rate then? For normal business hours?
I will tell you, I was not involved in this negotiation. And in fact, I think it was Shannon, and I don't know how much you had to do with that, Chris. Do you have any idea?
Which?
The
invoice for
IQ.
What we paid already?
Well, the IQ, what the hourly rate is and everything else. We're paying
That's-
10.
That's for the yearly thing that, what, it's about 1080 a year.
Yeah, and I come out and they maintain things and fix things, and, you know, it's minor repairs and maintenance on a quarterly, or is that monthly basis?
It's monthly.
Yes.
We get a discount on parts.
And
Well, that's
what-
why we already have this part list that they
That's what
provide.
the part list is about, yeah, and we'll talk.
Does it
about
have the hourly on that? Because I don't have that.
There was no labor charges on that estimate that I saw.
Yeah, this.
So it just
like we
sounds
said
like
last time,
daytime is 100, and then if it's after hours, it's 150. An emergency call is 100, starting at 100. Daytime.
No. An emergency call. So Chris, you need to know this, and also whoever makes these phone calls, and let Patty know at our CAM that service calls outside of normal business hours will have a $100 fee plus a 1 hour minimum. So just for them to come out for
250 to come out.
Yeah.
for 10 minutes,
And if
it's $250.
And get an hour of service, I guess, on top of that to repair.
So what's the rate in comparison from Cyprus? On there?
Cypress wasn't cheap either. They had their extra rates, and I will tell you that they weren't dependable. We had trouble getting them
Oh,
to
that's
come out
right. They're the
sometimes.
ones that took forever to get, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
So these people do promise a response time in 4 hours.
Yeah,
That's major.
and they have been, since we've been using them, they have been better, no question about it. So with that said, it's a done deal. So this has essentially been approved. We have approved. We've discussed this before, but I want to just bring it up and put it to bed. So it's a done deal. Okay? And I want to distinguish, because when we first got that list with all those items, there was a misunderstanding. I think the office here even thought we were having that work done. And if I remember correctly, I think I got a call from Warren to come down and sign something, because they were ready to issue a purchase order for all that stuff on that other
I
list.
remember that email.
And in any case, what that is really just a parts list and what it's gonna cost us when we replace things. So we have an idea of what the cost will be. There's no labor charge per se, but we don't know how much labor it would be to put those parts in and replace them. But if we call during the normal hours, it'll be the normal labor rates, and but like I said, we don't have an estimate as to how much the labor is to install some of these parts. That's all I can tell you.
So if an owner hits that gate and breaks it, they're gonna be charged that emergency fee.
If we know who we can get reimbursed from, we will go after them. That's correct.
And have before.
And have before. That's correct. So that's the deal. It's in place, and apparently we'll be charged monthly for monthly service to come out and do basic maintenance on on those gates. So I'm gonna consider that done if all questions are asked, okay, or answered. Everybody happy?
Mhm.
Okay. Stoneybrook Pathway Project. I'm gonna throw that one over to Warren. And for those of you that are not aware, we did have a little bit of a problem with the irrigation today, and we should found out about it today, where they cut down next to the pathway to cut the roots. And, but
Take care of it tomorrow.
we'll handle it. Yeah, this is brand new stuff. But you want to update us? I know things, but I know people here don't know. So
Monday, they will start to cut and patch all the way down. We've spent a couple hours this last week walking down there, marking stuff. So we both concurred with what had to be done. He had some stuff that I said, well, but now we got to do this. So you walk down the path, now it's pink. All the little marks are going to go to pink. They're supposed to start Monday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, weather permitting, they'll have it done. They will not leave anything open. If they cut some macadam out, they'll patch it right after they get it cut out.
McAdam.
Oh,
Yeah,
asphalt. For a few.
Florida
guys.
people, we
Yeah,
call
you
it
Florida people, it's asphalt. For us northerners, it's macadam.
Well, it can be a toss up.
Yeah, but he did not see any problems in getting it down to 3 days. They'll have a 6-man crew. They'll be out here. I'll be out doing some supervision. I got, the key thing is making sure when they dig it out, they take some, there's some that need some roots taken out, and then when they can put some stone in, and that's all in the.
Preparation is important.
Yeah, and then once they get done, they put the asphalt down.
An adequate amount too.
2 inches, 2 inches, pressed down to 1.5. And because some of the spots are a lot bigger than I thought they were gonna be, that he marked, they will use a roller on a lot of it. Some smaller stuff, they won't, they'll just use the
Compaction,
vibrator.
vibrator compaction.
So, but there's some big spots, right at the beginning, right through there. Then there's some other spots. Once they get the roller on the path, they'll probably keep.
Just run down it, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today on the right-hand side, that was done, the whole area, didn't go into the whole parking lot. I thought it was gonna be blocked off. So they
We're
still
talking
have to
about,
do
we're
one more
talking
coat?
about the walkway.
Just the walkway.
Yeah, just the walkway, yeah. They'll block off, trucks, they may have a truck or something be parked on the roadway, right about where they're working and stuff, typical kind of construction stuff. But they will remove everything, and as I say, they're supposed to start Monday. And I'll probably hear from him one day this week yet to see what time they'll be here.
Does the office know that
Yes.
this is happening?
Yes,
It's on.
I sat down, talked with,
Okay.
Patty. She knows, I've kept her in the loop as far as everything that's going on. And she's supposed to get something out. So,
Yeah, I know.
So,
We were just talking a
Yeah.
moment ago. JT said that she's a little bit swamped right now.
oh, yeah, no question, no question. And a lot of people are expecting, because we've talked a lot about it and word of mouth and stuff, so that'll be.
And I do want to say to her benefit that she did a great job helping me out, set up for that meet the candidates tonight. So, she's had a lot coming at her right now.
That's what she gets paid, big bucks.
Oh, yeah. That's relative. All right, so anything else about the pathway? Shows no surprises. And as
No,
far as, I think you all know that there won't be any coating on that.
Seal coat until.
At least 6 months, and it probably will be more. I think weather will determine when it happens.
Him and I talked about it the other day, and he said it'd probably be close to Christmas, because by the time they get done, rainy season's gonna be right there, and he says it's just best to wait. He was surprised that they seal coated the parking lot, because the spots are a little bit, aren't as big, but with the macadam, it takes so much time to get that oil and stuff burned off,
Yeah.
that some of that stuff won't do it.
Yeah, just, small patches there. not
Yeah,
huge,
yeah, that's, we say that might be what they're thinking, but he said, we have small patches too, but there's a lot of them.
And the ones along the edge where they patched, vehicles will never be on that.
Yeah.
And, I just don't see it. Like to be longer, but it is what it is.
Yeah, hey, yeah, that's it.
Can I ask a question? For December, since it's Christmas time, will the walking path be not able to, people walk or ride bikes on it for a day or so? Did they mention that?
That might be, and we may wait till after the first of the year. Depends on their schedule too. So 6 months will take us into, towards the end of rainy season. And then if we wait until after the first of the year, they can do it. So we'll have to arrange a schedule on that. So I would say, well, I know they haven't had anything on there now, but it probably wouldn't be as much for the path, because you're not putting any cars or anything on it. It's
Right,
gonna be
I was
straight.
just curious, like with asphalt, how long it takes, for it to do that whole evaporation, air dries, you can't walk or park on it. If it's, the sealant is the same as asphalt time.
Yeah. it is.
Sealant actually has to cure. That's a liquid when they're applied. That has to dry and cure. The asphalt, depending upon temperature and what pressure they put on it, that's almost like you walk on it right away.
Yeah,
I'm
oh, yeah.
just so concerned how long that pathway is. If like someone cannot walk on it for 24 hours, how are we gonna protect the residents?
They
Somebody
will,
from walking.
when they spray it, well, they're gonna squeegee the first coat, they're gonna spray the second coat, and there would be 2 pounds of sand for every gallon of stuff, so that
Give
it
it
won't
some
be
grip.
slippery.
Won't be
Yeah.
slippery. Right now,
So,
the problem with that is, the last time we did it, you're absolutely right. There was a handful of kids that walked around in it and tracked their feet around and made a mess.
You're still gonna, and
And the key thing is that they start, I think, by the clubhouse this time, because that's shadier there. It gives it more time.
Okay, so they're not gonna.
And
do
you
all of
want to
them.
get back up to the sun later, because at the other end of the street, it's sunnier. But that's what happened. They finished late, didn't get sun. The kids who used to hang around on that electrical box down there by Gemstone, used to be a crowd that hung out, and they have footprints all over the place. In fact, one of the kids was stupid enough to have socks on and walked it into the house.
Oh, geez. I just want to make sure nobody gets
Heard
hurt
about that.
on their feet or something, walking. Okay.
All right, so is that it for that one? Discuss Lee County Sheriff's Office patrolling Stoneybrook streets for speeding. And eventually, more than just speeding, but nevertheless. Did a letter go out yet?
Goes to the board next week.
Okay. Any anticipate any issues or problems with that? Any wording problems or issues? Okay. And we should turn around that within the month, right?
I would assume so.
And then from that point on, we can, everybody should be happy that we can bring Lee County Sheriff's Office in to patrol the streets. Now, the issue that's going to be coming up for our budget and the budget with the HOA concerns who's going to pay that money. Where's it coming from? Because we had a bill that hit us out of the blue. They charged us for, I guess, the new board at that time back in, not this year, but last year, January of 2020, actually sent it in here and it hit the 004 fund, unbeknownst to us. Wasn't big, it was like 220. And is that what we want to do? And my concern is if we agree to that, and I'm fine, and we budget for it and it gets paid through with taxes, that I don't want to give the HOA board, not to have anything against you guys, but to be able to dip into the 004 fund and start taking money out whenever they feel like it. I think we need to have a say on it. But I don't want to be responsible for the Lee County Sheriff's Office.
I think the CDD now, when they hire the sheriff, they have a schedule for almost the whole year, don't you, for the weekends and stuff, And that's something maybe we can consider for that. But I also think that that should come from the 04.
Yeah.
Not every week. I mean, we don't need 24/7, but the HOA budget has money already in it, I believe.
I agree for right now.
And if they feel they want to pay for 4 hours, then they can pay for 4 hours.
Which is
once the sheriff gets approval to come in and enforce traffic laws, they can come in any time and enforce traffic laws.
Do you know if they charge sales tax for that normally? Because
I don't know. I haven't seen one.
I know you're not going to see it here because you got the tax ID number, but would they normally charge sales tax on that?
I got a copy.
Because that would be the only reason to do it through here, to be honest.
Because it's, their charges for their hourly rate, which is I think like $48 an hour right now per, and then
you got
it's.
to pay for the car. And
Well,
it's
yeah,
over
then
50
the
now.
car.
It's
Then
over 50 and there's a car. It's about $75 an hour when you add it all up.
pretty close. Yeah,
But I can't remember
looking,
what
I had a-
the sales tax.
I had a
Isn't there
copy of
minimum
one of
3
them.
hours?
Four.
Minimum 4, oh, okay.
I'm sorry, minimum of 4
4
hours.
hours,
Yes,
right.
yes, yeah. You're not going to get people to come out on
Yeah.
work overtime on their day off for less than 4 hours. So, and that's kind of a standard thing throughout. So I thought I had a copy of the format that they use you have to fill out when you're going to hire somebody from the sheriff's
Should
office.
charge
even though
tax because it's a service. You can't charge tax on the service.
Yeah. The only thing might be the card, and I'll have to take a look at that. I've got a copy.
Actually, for commercial, you can charge sales tax. When we get an attorney's bill, I will bet you there's sales tax on it.
Really?
I don't know.
I know up in Connecticut, you got sales tax because if you were commercial, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we can
It
check.
seems every state
Check it.
every state goes different
I know.
on some of that stuff, but
Wouldn't we have a copy of the last time they were hired and like a copy of?
Yeah, the only time that we had, the last time I
Well-
saw it was we got charged though, and it was a year ago, January.
I had a copy of one of the, I got from, on public records requesting the CDD, and my mind can't pinpoint if it was tax on
Well,
it.
that's just it. It probably wasn't because it was the CDD that ordered it.
Well, that's
they wouldn't-
probably true,
Yeah,
too,
Right.
they wouldn't have paid sales
Right.
tax. So
So it
you
wouldn't have been
can't really tell by that. All right, that's something you guys maybe could look at it. Down the field, the board of heavy offices check to see, maybe go back prior to 2020 and see if they paid sales tax on that. That would be a reason to try to pass it through here. But I have requested with a couple of board members, one being Chad, that we need to sit down to talk about who's going to pay what going forward. And even go over this map over here that we have in front of us for who's going to pay and maintain what going forward. And because we'll need that information when we're doing our budget. We need to know what we need, how much cash and what we are paying for.
When you have the meeting with the treasurer?
Terry?
Yeah.
I assume he'd be one of the people we'd be meeting
Oh,
with.
you've
Yeah.
only talked to Chad, but it would be more.
Well, no, I communicated to others on the board, but
It all changed this month, so might as well wait till later in the month to do anything.
gotta be careful though, because we're cutting it close then too. But yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But by May, we have to turn it in.
Yeah, well, again, if
You know,
you don't want to change horses in the middle of the stream if you don't have to.
okay, I don't have a problem with that. All righty. So we've discussed Lee County Sheriff's Office. Hopefully, in the next month or plus, we'll be able to, there'll be no issues about bringing them in. And as far as what has to be resolved is who's going to pay for it, who's going to control ordering it when they come in. And one quick question, Chris. I think we're okay between us and you, as I recall. We do have an understanding that we have the right to bring Lee County Sheriff's Office in to patrol the streets of Stoneybrook, which technically are owned by Gateway. There shouldn't be a problem there. That's my understanding
Yeah.
anyway.
That would be the same as the CDD patrols the county roads.
Exactly.
Because the county road can control that. All they have to do is pay for the time. We need to, once we have the commissioner's approval to enforce the traffic laws, that we fall under kind of the same situation.
Correct.
So,
Okay. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Discuss and vote on the service contract for the gate equipment, which you're correct, does sound an awful lot like number 3. And I think we have discussed that enough.
Yeah. My only really question was, they have the prices down here. Is this the maximum price, or because we have a service contract, are we getting 10% off on the
I
cost?
believe that was given to us.
Before.
Oh, it was before that.
I'm thinking this came out when we saw these prices first, and we all assumed we're not gonna need this.
If we replace all that doesn't need to get replaced.
Correct.
That's just it.
That's when we were able to deduce that this was just for your information list.
I think we need a clarification. Since we're on this program, is this discounted at all? Agreed? And truly clearly state what the per hour rate is.
Well,
It is a 2
we know what the emergency per hour, but what's the normal per hour?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's not in any of this. But we've already agreed to it, right?
Well, we agreed to the service contract. We haven't agreed to those prices yet. If there's no advantage to having a service contract other than them coming out once a month,
Right.
there's nothing here that says we have to do this work with them. Although it would make sense to do it that way. But I think they should make it worth their while. And then that's just my opinion anyway. If they're getting locked in, they should make it worth their while.
We have an evac on that, an emergency vehicle access receiver on that,
Say it again?
an evac, emergency vehicle access receiver. So you know how it's.
I don't think we have
Police
that
and
right
ambulance
now.
and fire trucks, they all have their own,
Yeah, I don't think we have that right now. I think that's not a bad idea.
it's on here. Equipment listed for the main gate system. I don't ever remember seeing one or having one on there or being used.
I have seen them in other communities.
Oh, yeah, so have I. It's just a standard code that all the
Maybe
fire
it's
trucks
part of
use.
this program?
I would think it'd probably be maybe mandatory, like almost
You know
like
what
code.
he's talking about, right?
Well, if it's listed separately as a part on the previous sheet that we got, we may be billed for that part.
This is just a description.
Remember the one where
I know.
the email you got at the beginning?
Yeah,
What started this whole conversation was a breakdown on parts.
right, which we do have over
And I
here.
don't have that in front of me right now.
Yeah,
And,
So you were questioning whether or not we had that?
Yeah, do we have that?
do we have that?
Well, if they're listing it here
We have
as
it.
the equipment list for the main gate that's covered in the,
It sounds, it looks
We
like
got
we
it.
do.
yeah.
I tend to agree, and I don't know.
No, I agree with you too. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I would think,
I
it'd
did
probably-
not know
I would
that.
probably think it'd be code. Once they install this in the community, where you're getting this because of law enforcement and
Yeah, and if that goes bad, it's $130 to.
so we
For
do have
new.
it.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Hope we do. I imagine the gate people should have an idea, or Securitas should have an idea, because they would be aware of that when the equipment comes through. That means they don't even have to open the,
Right.
the thing. They should be, the emergency vehicle should be able to open it, and I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, annual preventive maintenance for equipment listed above.
Exactly. It seems like it's an inventory. Didn't know we had it. All right, number 7.
That's why it's hot here, JT.
That was just me.
Is everybody tuned in right now? Because I gotta ask Chris about this one. At the end of the last Board of Supervisors meeting, there was a point that came up about electricity charges. And it's my understanding now, after talking to Flavia and Margaret, that we may have been getting charged incorrectly for electricity that should have been the responsibility of the, of Gateway, the CDD, because it's a lake maintenance issue, right? And not having any idea, first time I heard anything about that was at that meeting. It was late and it was apparent nobody really wanted to talk about a lot of detail. That kind of got brushed off. But I do recall Ed Tinkle saying, well, if they haven't asked for the money back for now, maybe we ought to forget about it. But how do you ask back money for money that you didn't know about? And that, I think, is an important issue. I don't want this to go away. I know that Flavia from Magnolia Lakes has received, I believe, 3 checks for payment in electricity. I don't know what they were, but that they should not have paid and did pay. And it was billed to the HOA. It was not billed to the, in this case, 004 fund. They don't have any kind of fund like that. So bills went to the HOA. And after some discussion with Flavia, she said that one of the people here in the offices mentioned that it looked like those bills and those arrangements were set up by the developers at that point in time, because they were still owning and operating the place. And there was no change made at turnover. But once again, if you don't know about it, and Warren being our first president, did not know we didn't own the.
I didn't know a lot about
He didn't know we didn't own the lakes, and neither did anybody else, and he didn't know we didn't own the roads, and neither did anybody else. So there was no way to even look at that, because we just simply weren't aware of it. And that took about probably a year to figure that one out.
So is this gonna be another AT&T?
I think it's gonna be more than ADT.
No, but ADT, thank you, issue that we're gonna have to go back. to get credit.
Someone's paid the bill. We just gotta
We
figure out
did.
who paid it.
We did through the HOA.
Okay, do we have the documentation? to
That's
show?
why I was trying to get electric bills, and this is,
Yeah.
and apparently there are people who have this documentation.
And the one thing I found when I was looking for the meter numbers, it's not on your bill. I could not
I can
find.
see it. I can see it's not here.
Yeah, so you would probably have to send the account number somehow with AD or by name or something to find out who's getting what.
What I was told was that we're gonna need to contact FPL. And give them the authority to come back and speak to Gateway about this. And possibly they will be the source of by meter number, because I was told FPL will need the meter numbers, and they'll tell you.
That's,
But what it was labeled as was irrigation,
okay, well,
and not quite accurate.
So we're talking 7 pumps, 15+ years, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Well, we've only been turned over since '07. So we're
I just-
approaching 14 years. Yeah.
So who's
They
allowed
would
to
have
get
to
a
have a-
copy of that audit that the supervisors were working on? That's how all this was brought to the table at the recent meeting.
I would think in freedom of information
HOA
will,
would.
Oh, yeah, well, as far as getting anything from here, you could go with, if you want to get information, just a public records request if they have it available.
Well, I was just wondering, if we didn't have to request it, why wouldn't they offer that information to the HOA or to Stoneybrook
I
Advisory?
think I think that's what he's saying. They have to get a whole FPL so they can get a whole list of.
we have to get a hold of FPL.
Yeah,
Even
With
though the
us,
audit's
or
already
it's
done?
actually HOA money. It probably will need to be the offices or the board will need to get a hold of them
Patty,
and get
you know, because
start this ball rolling.
I kept
And
looking.
this is
on-
all discovered from you just paying attention at a
No, the audit.
advisory?
That and, well, she picked it up, just
I was
watching it after the
Watching the
fact.
meeting.
And Flavia, after the board meeting, mentioned something.
This is the first I'm hearing it. I mean,
I heard about it that night.
how long have you known that we've been paying the?
It just got brought up. It got brought up at Flavia's at first, and that's because they they have fountains and aerators. The aerators are ours, but the fountains were theirs. And they actually went in and like 3 or 4 years ago, gave them a refund and set up another drop for the aerators, and then never hooked them up. And so it went on for another 2
It
or 3
went on for
years.
another.
But what you're finding now, and they're just going in and investigating, there hasn't been an audit done yet. They need to get permission from the account holders. And they could easily go in and say, here's a standard electric bill for an aerator, per month. There's a 3 year limitation
Right.
on claim. So no matter how long it's been going back, they just honor it for 3 years, whatever that billing is. And what they found out and brought up into this audit too, though, is that a lot of the boxes that these are tied into, and there may be fountains or irrigation systems for the HOA tied in, is they're a pile of crap. And they're substandard and they're not safe and they need to be totally redone.
I look, I've got pictures of where the meters are, where all of our boxes look pretty good. I mean, there's some. There's a
Well, it's
couple
in there right
different
here. It
kinds.
says, who did this?
I did.
Okay.
Did you really get out and go get pictures? Because I heard that a couple ours were really bad. I know, I saw that.
I've got pictures.
You're awesome, dude.
I know.
I got pictures of the meter too, so if there's a number you need, I've got it on.
Okay.
And that's what they'll do is
I'll
they'll look
take
at what's powering what,
I'll
whether
work
it's
those
2 things or 3, or, we need to get another drop. Can we just split it? Pay for it, or how they're gonna do
Well,
it.
we don't have fountains. We don't have anything other than
Aerators.
Aerators.
the aerators.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
There's
I
some-
would think all that electricity should have been yours, unless we're tying in with the irrigation, but I don't think that's the case either. I don't know.
But irrigation is gonna be low voltage anyways.
It is. It
You're
won't
just
should
talking,
be
you're just
much.
talking
But
a one, you're talking a 110 just to control a little box, and the rest of it's low
Well,
voltage.
use your solar, they're controlled by the box. yeah.
And usually where that becomes a problem, and we're having issues with Gateway Greens on that, is a lot of what you'll find monuments and irrigation systems are hooked into the streetlights. And when those low voltage transformers pop, they take the whole streetlight bank out. So when they aren't maintaining their equipment or have an issue, it takes all our equipment down.
Well,
So that's just another
to the
example.
best of my knowledge, that's not happening in Stoneybrook. Now, Gateway is pretty old. They were the first community, and there were probably things done back then, because that
Yeah,
was
they just whatever
pretty
it's supposed to.
loosey-goosey back in those days. It really was.
All our stuff looks in pretty good condition as far
And
as.
really, the
and
electrical
you-
boxes now we're talking about, where they plug and hook into, because that was not the way it was described at
Well, I
that
think
meeting.
they were talking about,
Somebody
general,
else?
yeah, they had checked everything. Don't look at that one.
Are they talking about the aerator box itself?
No.
Just
The
coast through
electrical
those and you'll
box.
see
Just
some
a
of the.
regular, just a
Yeah,
regular
just past,
GFI
yeah.
box with the transformer with the breakers running.
Yeah, but believe it or not, it ain't
Well,
that
that's
cheap.
just a meter thing. That's the meter. That's not even our responsibility. That's
Yeah,
FBL.
that's not what we're talking about.
Talking about that? This one? That's the blower box.
area.
Yeah, that's where the electric is. Well, there's a post right next to where the electric
There's
is,
your
and
on,
the
off.
box behind it. Some of them, there are some of those pictures too that will show, just keep, the one.
Surprised you didn't find any
Al
beehives in
was
there.
describing some of the boxes that were in such bad shape, she was afraid to stick her hand in there. Now, she wasn't just talking about Stoneybrook, so I don't know
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
which community it was.
Some of
But
them,
that
yeah,
she'd be afraid to try to do something.
there's. a
Honestly,
picture-
I don't see any of these boxes looking in bad shape.
Well, this is what I'm talking about here.
Oh,
The
those?
one on top, the one behind the meter.
Um, oh, yeah.
Some of them are a little shaky, but when you look at it, I have a picture there, there's just some switches. And so if you go into it, you're gonna have to go behind, you're gonna have to take a screwdriver to take all that out to do that.
Yeah, there's some labor involved.
Yeah,
You get
so
the
I don't
electrician,
know,
And
you
now
know.
you're talking about a licensed electrician. I will say that we may have to bring somebody in, we being the HOA, okay, to take a look at these things because, and see exactly, because there may be some split required here, and that was one of the suggestions, splitting these things up. If in fact, more than one thing are using that electricity.
Yeah.
I don't know that's the case, except but the one controller for irrigation that's way back there behind on Ivory Stone, I think that's existing there because they did tap into that electric.
That
source
could
back
be,
there.
that's the only one that,
Each aerator has its own box, has its own.
yeah,
meter?
yeah. Or is it Ivory Stone?
Well, that'll be
Last
easy
one.
to find out how much is being
Okay,
paid.
this is Ivory Stone here, I believe.
It's ACD 8129,
Yeah, okay.
the last one.
And I did not get got a picture of the box, but I didn't get a picture of the stand there. But right there is also the irrigation boxes. I know that's
Is there
because
the irrigation control box?
it's on the same thing because it controls the irrigation along the ficus bushes. That's,
And that happened and they tapped in there because that was an after the fact installation.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
why
that's-
that's there. That
they
was
have
put in
irrigation.
after the berm was
yeah,
done.
besides the blower box there, that bottom box,
Yeah.
they also have an irrigation box that covers the ficus bushes.
So to the best of
Yeah.
my knowledge, that's the only one that taps into the same source of
Now
electricity
there's-
as an aerator.
Now, there is one over that has a master meter box, and that's what the village used a couple years ago when we took it off the houses and had one meter box to control all the irrigation. That meter and the control box is still there, but the meter's not running. So I'm trying to find out whose meter it is or who put it in and whatever, and try to get that out of there so it's not, because I want to get rid of this big box too, because it's a master box that covers a lot of area, but again, nothing's working because we took everything out. So
All right.
that's the
We
one
need to
on the
get
bottom of
somebody
that
out there,
list.
official, to really look at that, see
Yeah.
what the standing is. We need to contact FPL, we being the office of the board, because this is HOA. And and tell FPL what we need to have done, what the issue is. And I think you're okay to, you understand what's going on here, and you can, I certainly would help you. Get the office staff up to snuff here, and just one more thing.
So we need to verify the integrity of these boxes.
Integrity of the boxes, but then we'll do that by hiring an electrician. I think we can hire, or the HOA can hire
Yeah,
an
wrote that
electrician
down.
and do that. But as far as relaying the information, that's important to FPL.
Yeah.
And to take a look
Find out
at
who's
this
paying the bills
and,
go from there.
and see what is what, which meter, which bill was for the aerators. And I believe there's gonna be more than one bill for aerators.
Now, did Brian say that him and Al both went out and looked at these, or was there somebody else?
No, I think the two of them looked at it. Billy was with them on some of them too.
Okay. Now, the one gentleman you have, that's kind of the electrician. Is that someone we could call on to go out and check those?
Depends on the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's got to find them.
And
Because some of them are kind of.
some of them that we're looking at, we're having Bentley do it.
Okay.
Who?
Bentley. So,
It's cost effective for you to do that? You think-
licensed electrician, you
Yeah.
want somebody,
Is that something, would you suggest us, that's maybe who we ought to be thinking about?
okay, you can ask Brian what he's doing, because they may be going out checking your boxes as part of it. And then if all your accounts for the aerators are all being paid by the HOA, then we just switch over the accounts to the CVD's name.
There you go, yeah.
3 years worth of back billing.
That's the thing to do.
Just 3 years?
Suppose, let's just say
That's all
hypothetically,
Tony will let
that,
you go.
that Gateway knew a while back and kept it from us. Wouldn't that be an issue as far as that 3 years go?
It'd be, I don't know, lawyer.
Okay. Run that by Tony, because Tony will be looking to protect Gateway services on that.
I think the key thing is, even though you get, he gets money back, fine, but it's getting it straight. So.
Going forward,
Move
yeah.
forward.
well,
Getting it straight will-
here's
getting
the
it straight will
thing.
be easy.
Here's the thing, right now, I don't think we should be paying that bill anymore, going forward.
But we don't know who's getting it.
Well, we're getting it.
Oh, we're.
So we need to pay it.
Okay.
And if we can isolate that, who's doing it, then I think we should turn that bill over to our buddies over here at Gateway.
Mr. President, do you want to go ahead and jump on that FBO bill?
I'm sure,
I'm making a note right
And
now.
send that over
I'm sure
to,
Chad will be looking to save us money. Or Terry. Let's see. Well, that's all I can say about this right now, but we do have a couple of things we got to do about that. That's what it comes down to.
The only thing, when you check your box, if you're checking them and okay, the aerator's hooked up, but who knows what could be hooked up to that? There could be irrigation boxes, there could be people that
Well,
live next to it that are tapped into,
yeah, but I don't see that happening. I really
Yeah,
don't.
I didn't, and I looked at all of it, and the only ones I saw was the one beyond Ivory Stone that
Yeah,
has the
that,
one.
I know that
controller
is
on it.
tapped into. for
But I don't,
irrigation.
I didn't look in the boxes because, someone could have stuck something up there and, I'm not an electrician.
It's the
I
only
don't touch
reason that the controller is back there, because it's an off beaten place to put it, and because it was after the fact, and they needed electric source, and that was what they used there. I knew about that one, but I do not think there's any others. I've never seen.
I could not, I couldn't locate any, the ones I looked at, I didn't see any other wires coming. But then again, if you're gonna hook into it, you're gonna conceal it a little bit.
I don't think anything's hooked into
Yeah,
ours.
so, but I think all of our irrigation stuff, though, was pretty much on the macadam side of the road. Or I should say, along the edge of the road on both sides, you have the boxes. I don't think it really goes back up that far. Okay.
This is gonna stay on the agenda until we figure everything out, right?
Yeah, we'll come back to visit this as we go forward.
But Chris is gonna work on it.
Yeah, but this is the HOA board needs.
Not, well, both Chris's will work on it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the HOA
Only your
board needs to be
electric bills.
aware. and
If you can identify which accounts are linked to those aerators.
I mean, what are we
Yeah.
looking at? I mean, how much would an aerator cost if you run it 20? I mean, they gotta be DC motors, so therefore your electric's gonna be a lot lower.
They're
Yeah, but some of
typically
them are
30
old.
to
Huh?
$30 to $40 a month.
Well, from
Typically,
what,
but some of them are $60.
60 or more, it could be double, because if they're old and inefficient, they might be improved efficiencies now in design.
I mean, I would assume
It
they're,
could be double.
I would
That's
assume they're
what I was
DC
told.
motors.
I've
just
got the-
for low.
Got the meter readings when I took them. You go back through if you want and see how much they used
See
in a
where
week's
they're at
time or
and
something.
add that by the kilowatts.
Once we identify them, I'm sure that will be actually
Fine.
easy. As long as they can find these old bills, because now everything's up in the cloud, and they can keep on telling me, oh, yeah, no problem finding it
Well,
out.
it just has to rain. Bring them back down.
Got a lot of stuff in the cloud.
Right, the only other thing I have is, well, first of all, I just want to update those who don't know. There was a delay in getting Spectrum out there because there was a problem with breakdown in communication and getting the documents signed, but Warren took care of that for us and getting Spectrum out to put the AC in. And that's going to happen when?
I don't know. Josh called me or texted me yesterday when he got back in the office and wanted to know who he should schedule it with. I gave him Patty's name, so they can schedule when he's gonna come out and put the new air conditioner in. And then he also wanted to know who was gonna pay the check. I sent that to Chris.
Okay.
Actually, I sent it to Laura, so Laura can answer what questions, when he sends the bill in, where it's gonna go, so.
So you told him to get to attention of Chris and Laura or what?
Well, I just, to Laura, I didn't, yeah.
Okay, that should be fine. And is that 100% upfront or just a partial start? Because I hate to pay for.
I don't think there's anything up front. I have to go look at
How
the
much was the
contract.
amount?
Huh? 4,100.
Yeah, it's
41.
that's the whole amount.
Yeah, and it's Spectrum knows where we're at. He knows where
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
lives.
yeah, we know where he's at. And the other question I have for you, Chris, is ADT. Have we heard anything about that? I understand we have filed for suit in,
That's all we did.
small, do we have a date or anything, a court date? Do you have any idea?
No.
Shouldn't that have stayed on the agenda? Shouldn't that have stayed on the agenda for?
Well, I've got it, and you know, what's gonna happen is we're gonna go, tomorrow is the meeting, correct?
Yeah.
And I'll be down there and I'll make sure I talk to Tony about that and ask him where it stands.
So
been
it'll be
on
on the next agenda, the final discussion of.
We'll talk about it, but this is somewhat out of our hands right now, Angela,
Okay.
you know, in terms of making it happen.
The CDD attorney's handling it.
Yeah, they filed it in small claims, so we'll wait till they schedule the small claims hearing.
And I have no idea how long it takes
Okay.
here. It could take 2-3 months up north, I know.
Hmm.
Anybody have anything? Warren?
I didn't want you to ever think I haven't done anything for the last month.
Oh, it's about time.
Yeah,
That's what you always used to tell me.
I keep trying. We've been talking about the pedestrian crossing signs. And I know,
Keep going, just remind me of something.
and I've gone through a whole bunch of companies and stuff. And finally, I got a proposal. Actually, we got two proposals from Lycan's Sign Tech. I got copies of this. Both of them are in the same package. And I know, you know, the cost of the one that we're going to be looking at is probably $21,480. So I don't know if we can come up with that much money now. Joe has indicated maybe wait until the next budget time. I'll give everybody a
Or
copy.
get some HOA money in there
Well,
to, you know,
That was going to be my next
Reset
comments.
capital
No,
contribution.
as you drive around Gateway, you see the crossing signs all the time. None of them are lit up. I think the CDD has done what they're required to do as far as putting these signs up. And I think that to spend $23,000 to put these fancy signs up for the amount of traffic we have coming in and out, to me would be kind of an overkill. And I say that really because, harsh, because I am, you know, my whole life has been around traffic safety, et cetera. But I really think that is a way to go as far as this committee goes, the advisory committee, to try to budget $23,000 towards the end of the year. I personally think that CDD has done what they are required to do as far as the signage goes.
Mhm.
If it's going to go beyond that, if the HOA board says, no, we want those lights, then here it is, $23,000, and Sign Tech will put them up. And that's there's some negotiation that could still be done here, but I think that would be more prudent for us on here than having go back to the CDD and say, we need $23,000 to put these fancy signs up. And then, you know, we're going to have, you know, a problem with one area because of flashing lights, et cetera. But I think the one that we're looking at, I don't think it flashes. They're LED lights, but they are, yeah,
The light
those
bar?
go.
And they're not as bright.
They're
kind
not
of
as bright.
like
And
paint, yeah.
if you want to see one or two, actually, on Crystal,
They just
between
put those by the railroad station.
Metro and 41, right across the railroad tracks, they have that fancy dead end intersection. They've always had something there about pedestrians and stuff. And they put two there, just
What
like
do
that.
what do they have down there at the school?
At school,
'Cause
I
saw
think they're
that
gonna take it
yesterday.
out. Because according to the traffic engineer at Lee County, it doesn't meet their requirements.
That didn't meet the requirements? The thing looks huge.
I know.
I
Yeah, that-
spent a fortune on it.
Yeah, and I was talking to Steve Jensen,
Okay.
and he said, that's probably gonna come out because the lights are, and I thought that was good because it just had a big flashing light, and he said, no, he said, you know, it doesn't meet our requirements. But then I looked over on the way over to 42 or 41 or, yeah, whatever it is. I saw those lights, and I kind of stopped and took a look and see. And those are kind of neat and stuff, and it's exactly what we're looking at. But again,
Not too bright and.
yeah, and I really question the amount of pedestrian traffic we have. And if you watch people, very few people actually just get up and walk across. Most people will stop and they'll watch and they'll do this
Yeah, they
to
don't
you,
wanna slow you
you know,
down.
so it makes it tough. And they're supposed to stop anyway.
But you can't see them at nighttime.
Well,
my
that's,
fear. I mean, it happens.
that's one situation. The other thing we can do is put a sign up as you come in. I know there's a little sign on the bulletin board, but they have signs that come out and says, stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. And it's a reflectorized sign, which kind of warns people coming up. And if you look at the traffic law, to see them, your headlights should be able to pick those up at least 250 to 300 feet on low bend.
I hear you, Warren, and I will tell you that sometimes, depending upon what they're wearing, if they're wearing dark clothes, you can't see them. I almost hit Andy's wife one time.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna make my argument. The argument comes down sometimes. I think, you're supposed to be able to see them. If you have your headlights and you're paying attention, you should be able to see them. And maybe it would be cheaper for us to put a sign or a light pole or something close by or something.
Well,
Some things
when
we can-
Margaret and I went through this entire community, then JT helped us later on, we tried to pick sites and even thin out and trim the trees back in those areas to get more light. You
It's
will
tough.
see a couple spots where there's a light on both sides of the street by the crosswalk. They're not real bright lights.
No.
And that's something, going forward, I was thinking about looking into maybe getting to conversion over to new LED type lights.
Maybe we should start looking into that as a community.
I agree. Well, the problem is how that works contractually. Because FPL owns the lights.
I think they just go in there and I just think they just change the balance and they change the light.
I think the one problem you'll have
Saves
is,
them electricity, I'll tell you that. It should be a brighter light.
I think the one problem you have is that the amount of light that is thrown out. Now, if you do it at all the lights, because you already have some people on some of
Side streets.
side streets
Their houses,
that have
I know.
shimmied up the pole and painted the stuff black because the light.
Hey, I've seen that.
Well, I'm saying, so, and that's what the
I
lights we
understand.
have.
Well, let's just say this. We're talking about the main drag, I think,
Yeah.
for the most part. And no houses front on the main.
Well, and that
Well, I
would
don't
be the
think that
concern.
would be a big problem.
I think there's,
And the trees are blocking the house
Yeah.
anyways.
I think the lights are
Maybe
gonna
it's time
come
to
into
call-
play
maybe I should
over
call LPL and work on that.
at,
You got any
behind the
thoughts on
high
that?
school, because they're gonna,
I think they should do it for free because as you said, they're saving the electricity.
Because we're paying a flat
Shouldn't
amount
cost-
for.
We shouldn't have to pay to upgrade the lights. 'cause
A
we're not
while
gonna get
back,
paid
a
for
long time ago, I talked to, and I don't know the guy's name anymore. It might have been
Eric,
Chris.
it was Eric.
Eric, and he brought up the fact
Eric
that
Cohen,
they're gonna start doing that. And we just,
I got a thing in the mail last year and I tried to contact him. And you remember how Eric doesn't get back to you
Yeah.
sometimes? And I tried twice.
well, I know they've been, just in general, everyone's busy right now here. New development, everything.
I know. Well, just food for thought, but I do want to say, and I have one more question about this, and I don't know, Chris, you have an opinion. We have poles there at these crosswalks right now.
Yeah.
We don't need to run electricity to them because we're using solar. Why can't we just use those existing
yeah.
poles
well, that's what.
and put some equipment on?
Yeah, if you read the proposal, the guy from Sign Tech he's saying that you'd be able to use the sign poles that are already used in
They added
Gateway.
that and they just.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most of these companies, what they sell you is the kit. The solar, the sign, the flashing light, and
It's
then you
magnetic.
decide what kind of a pole you want on. And he's decided, since he's familiar with Stoneybrook, he knows what kind of poles we have.
Lexington.
And he knows they've done work for Gateway, so they know the poles they have here.
Heritage Palm.
So they know what and in that proposal, he does mention that it would go on the type of pole that we have.
Well, that's my question, because one of the estimates I saw, they're putting new poles in and the installation of them, and I'm saying,
And
why are we
that's-
doing that?
That's one of those things that I said, we still have some negotiation to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, this isn't like an urgent thing. It's
No,
not something that's gonna happen right away.
Well, how much is
It's
it
more
to,
for conversation, but nevertheless, I like to see it done.
how much is it for something like this without the sign lit up, but just have a light bar and this device that radios both of them?
Well, that would be the cost of the whole thing, because they don't give you the pole.
Yeah, but we don't need those signs. We already have
Well,
the
he's
signs.
proposing 30-inch signs. We have 24-inch sign. Now, they both fall under the,
Yeah, but then we gotta get a new frame.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
Let me
And
say
that's
this.
one of another
If that's what
negotiation
we
thing.
like, if that light bar is what we like,
Yeah.
we can attach that light bar on our own sign, buy the radio controlled push button and add a solar bank with a battery.
This
That's
is where I'm
Yeah.
going and
Done.
That's what
get
I
a
was
certified
thinking.
electrician to install it.
yeah.
Well,
No, I'm not
But,
concerned I
but,
can do
but
it.
buy their part
I agree.
and buy their light thing.
That's what I'm trying to.
You
do.
can, and
It can't be over.
And Lincoln
It
doesn't.
can't be
have-
that
after-
much money just for the
Can't
kid.
be.
That's the kind of money.
after
we're
listening
looking
to
at.
the board,
You need the sign.
the last few
Exactly.
meetings and the stuff,
24 versus 30
I get
years.
concerned when we say
I can
we
see
can
those
do
signs.
this.
I agree.
My problem is I can't see the people and I need them to indicate to me that they're there when we're coming down the road at night.
Change glasses.
No, it's it's a light situation.
No, but I think, as I was saying here before, I think every time we do something with the HOA, we say, okay, you get this, we'll put it all together. It goes to hell on a handbasket. If we're gonna do something like this, and we can sit down with Sign Tech and say, okay, we only want this and this, have them come out and install it. It's gonna cost you a little bit to install it, but it's gonna be done right. It's gonna be warranted.
Yeah.
They're gonna be able to, instead of having, hire some electrician to come out who has never done anything like this and stuff, to get a sign company to come out and do this. And this company has done things.
So
in
how
gateways.
much is this? This is the product that includes rapid flashing beacon, which is that line, quality of 2, so that's gonna be both.
Yeah.
Control boxes, both.
Yeah.
8-watt solar panel, both.
Yeah.
2 push buttons.
Yeah.
And then mounting hardware. That's all we need. How much is that?
And it wouldn't touch
That-
our
I
existing.
guess what we're asking for, those pieces is what,
Except something-
$2,500?
Yeah, well, it's expensive and that's cheap.
I was thinking it was the whole thing with the sign and everything.
No, that's cheap. And the price they're giving us is even. Because you can go to another company
I'm in the wrong
and you
business.
can get $3,600 for the same deal.
Yeah.
So we need 6 of those, so that's like 15 grand.
And that's what he's proposing is 6 of them. And that's the best price we
Does
have.
not include polar signs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
And
Because
does that
perhaps
number,
maybe we should
does that
get-
number include installation or no?
Yes, yeah.
I think
So-
that's what we should be taking
We
back
only
to
need,
the
we only
board.
need 3 of those.
6.
Don't you agree?
Why? Because it comes with 2.
6.
Each kit comes with 2.
Well, what did he say there?
Right.
He
Product
says 3. He
includes-
says 3 too. Yeah.
This is product includes 2 flash and beaker.
Yeah, okay, what he's done, but it'd be 6 altogether, because you need
Right.
6, yeah.
But you're only going to order
We're only buying
3
3 kits.
$2,500 packages.
Well, what's the, yeah, well, I think the price is $7,200 per set.
That right there.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
That includes
We have-
installation, that includes installation.
We had,
And
we
he's got
had,
the
we had
30
6
inch
signs,
sign
right?
that
We
we
had
don't
6
want.
signs.
Yeah, we need, well, if we keep the poles we have, those are 24-inch signs.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I
Yeah,
really
well,
am.
that's,
So
and that meets the federal requirements.
If one package product includes 2 beacons.
Yeah.
So that's 2, one for this side, one for this
Yeah,
side.
Yeah,
2 boxes, control boxes,
Yeah.
one from over here, one from
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
So the parts for 2 signs for one
Yeah,
pair.
it's like a match
So
set.
we only need 3 pairs.
right, that's what he put down.
I don't
Then he put
think
down
so.
3 pairs.
Because if that's $2,500, where are we getting $7,100, $21,000?
It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's got the labor, and that's why I say,
This right
this
here.
is,
Well, maybe
Solar horizontal rapid flashing beacon system with push button activation, $2,500.
Yeah, but it doesn't say it includes labor. I bet you other
Yeah,
numbers.
that's
look
the,
like-
that's the labor that goes.
But
with
okay,
that.
so how
But
much
that's-
is labor to zip tie this stuff to,
Well-
for an electrician to come in and do
Until,
that?
until we say this is what we want to do,
You wanna do it
I'm
not
not
to
gonna
exceed?
sit down until I get it.
You wanna do it not to exceed?
I don't know about that. Not to
You saw
exceed is
that-
only
you saw
good
that
for
wink?
emergency situations.
Okay, so it comes with push, the products
It comes
include
with
two of
everything you want,
everything you want for two signs, for one pair.
one pair.
So we only need three.
We need 3 pair at $7,000, which includes labor and installation. That includes the installation.
So we're paying $3,000 to install.
That could be. I mean, you've got to hook them together. They got to be they can't be more than 60 feet apart.
Which are, they're not. They're only, our
Well,
streets
of
are
course,
only.
they're about 28 feet from pole to pole.
So it's
But until-
basically,
JT, until the board or someone decides this is what we're going to
We
do,
can get it done if it's under 10 grand, but 21,000. Whew.
well, you don't have to do anything.
And I'll tell you why we
can we get this guy?
went with those signs.
Did he actually come out?
He
What's
lives
that?
in Stony
Does
Brook.
this guy come out and
What?
look? Is
Guy
this
lives
place
in Stony Brook.
The guy lives
He
in
lives on
Stony Brook?
Ivory Stone.
Oh, shoot.
He lives on Ivory
Call
Stone.
Matt up today.
And he's the hardest guy in the world to get a hold of.
We need him to come down, I think, to a board meeting and actually talk about this.
He already volunteered to come, and I said, no, not until we sit down and see what we want to do. I'm not gonna have him come here and
Is that,
and
is
get
that,
beat
his-
up like
Not
JT.
here.
is that
I
his phone
want-
number? Can I call him and ask him?
I'm sure his number's up there.
It's
It's,
his email, right?
Let's get him to come to an HOA board meeting. And, you know.
Well, let's get it settled here and then we can present it to the
I
board.
think if we can, well, the part of the problem, we need to know what the answers are. How do I settle it if I don't know, I don't understand that estimate?
Well, that's why I was
give
gonna give him a
And
call
then no-
today.
Gotta get his name.
His name's Matt.
Well, it's
What is
on-
it?
Matt,
Matt.
right here. All of it, the phone number,
Oh,
email, everything. It's on
okay,
the front.
Matt, yeah, Matt.
That's
And
the company
I
that
can't think
did
of
the-
Matt's lab, but he lives in Ivory
Don't
Stone.
you think that's-
He
He goes by there all the time, and he's the hardest
We
guy
did
to
that.
Stand there in front of you.
Yeah, they did
That's
the
why I've been doing so much
appeals.
research on my own.
I think he has already. I'm getting the impression he already has.
But it's kind of weird that,
What?
like you said, $2,500 to buy the equipment
It can't be that hard to mount
What,
it.
And then
2,500
$3,000
per?
and then $3,000 each to.
Well, per set includes two
No,
of
no,
everything.
no, not per set.
Yeah.
No, it is.
It is
No,
percent.
look at the bottom of the pole. Where's the beginning?
On that page, it says per set and it says two. It's a
That's
max
cute. It's
set.
VCR.
It says here under the thing there, 3 sets at $7,160 per set.
Right, but that's why I
Okay.
don't understand what the 71 came up, because it says 2,500 per
It
set.
says product,
Yeah,
product
okay, I see. So
specification.
you're talking 2,500, talking 5,000 for the parts and pieces and $2,000 for install.
Say what they had again?
And the pole is being included in here too, because they would, whether if we use our pole, that would come off. That's why I say, there's still some negotiation in here that can
Oh, no
be done.
question. And-
Yeah.
And he's still talking, both of these have the 30-inch sign. Those signs ain't cheap. And,
Yeah.
you know.
That's why if we keep the
keep our own
24-inch
sign,
sign, yeah.
Which is a perfectly good
Use the
sign.
same pole,
Yeah.
use the same sign. Only signs we'd have to get would be the ones in the middle, and that's what we need to sit down with him and say, okay, what can we get? And what I've seen in all the different places I've contacted or emailed or whatever, it's all parts and pieces, you know, because they're letting you decide the pole and how big you want this, that, and the other thing.
I honestly think this set right here is for two poles. So
It
we
is.
only need three
No.
sets. I don't see
I'll tell
how
you
they
what.
can, I don't see
Do
how
you
they can charge
mind if
$13,000
JT
for
Gives him a
install.
call and
Hey.
tries to clarify that.
He
All
can
right? You hear me?
just call them as part of a HOA board.
Yeah.
Lots of luck.
Yeah.
And
I'll go knock on his door.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sell
We'll
some,
send
sell
Lou
some honey
down.
while I'm there.
Some money and-
We'll send Lou down for,
Sell some honey.
Oh,
To
by
check
the
his
way, the
house.
roof's a little dirty. and
Yeah.
His driveway needs some.
I'm trying to think of what I got. I know I got.
I'll bring
it.
him.
I hear
All right.
But I think that's the way to do, and I think we need him to come down to a HOA meeting
And he
and clarify some of our questions.
he was he volunteered to come and I said, no,
That's
not
good.
yet. We need to talk about it and decide.
'Cause
I will
even if
give
do-
you,
All right, it's after 4. I think we're,
Because even if you do 3 at
I don't understand where
$2,500,
that
you still
number
don't get
comes from.
$75.
I don't know where that number comes from. That's what we need to know.
He keeps
That's
saying that, but he
one
never,
is 73. He's asking for 3. That's
See,
not the
I
full
owe him
thing.
a coffee. That's what he said.
If it's 2,500
I'll show
for,
you the text.
hey, if it's 2,500 for 6 of them,
It scares me for a lot of reasons.
I want to wrap this one up.
Yeah.
So we got that. I think we need to pursue this individual and get some clarification on it. And maybe get him down to a board meeting and see what we can do. This might be doable, okay?
Yeah.
And, you know,
for under 10 grand.
well,
I
I'm not
don't
throwing
think
numbers
so.
around,
I don't think you make it that, I don't think you get that low.
but we.
I'll bet you a cup of coffee, you can't get it below 10.
How about tonight's burger?
Huh?
How about tonight's burger? It is Wednesday.
Oh, that's,
I know where-
we're going down there, we're going down.
I know where you're gonna be.
Hey, no, we're going to the tavern tonight. That's why I got these colors on there. The
Oh, I don't-
Syracuse fans
I don't go to
are
the
playing
tavern.
Clemson fans, so I gotta wear my Clemson
You're wearing
colors.
Clemson.
I boycott the tavern.
All right, look, we're tying up, Chris, here. Let's move this thing along and wrap it up. Virginia, you got anything for us? Warren, I think you had.
I've had my say, I'm sorry.
Okay. Angela, I'm sorry.
I do.
I'm just trying to.
I'm concerned about the tiers and the irrigation and wondering how we can put this either on the agenda to figure out possibly if we can and what the expense would be, possibly even talking to Bentley Electric, getting their opinion on cost on adding a new meter to bring our irrigation expenses down.
That's not Family Electric. That would be
Plumbers.
a plumber.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So through the-
we're talking, I think it was 9,000, I think, for doing stuff. Chris, you know what, estimate to install a new water meter for a main line into Stoneybrook? Someone threw a number out not that long ago. That was expensive.
Why?
He's just looking for a guideline, I think.
Oh, yeah, a regular meter can be for, well, because it includes the impact fees when you set a meter. Yeah, it
Oh.
can easily be $7,000 to $9,000.
Right, it was $9,000.
Yeah.
It was expensive.
Are we
Meter.
talking about that meter on the irrigation on 82? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I was just curious what the options would be.
An impact fee for
Future.
putting a meter up? I think to shut the damn water off. I mean, that's why Lorraine
So
was
we're,
saying that.
so we're concerned about the new tiers, the new tier programs.
Right.
In that we only have 2 main lines coming into Stoneybrook to water all of our property. So we're thinking, can we save money if we can drop down to a single tier if we have multiple meters? Because now we got multiple usage per meter.
And then you're
We're still
paying-
using the same amount of water.
Yeah, you're using multiple base facility fees for each meter.
That's
each month.
Okay, that's little compared to a $4. That's little compared to a $4.
Especially on 82.
We could look at it.
82, we're getting killed.
I mean, we are literally gonna use the same amount of water, but we're gonna try to cut our prices down.
Yeah, the easiest way
Which
to
doesn't
do
make
that
sense.
is the tiers change with the larger meter. You have to look at what the equivalent is. And one thing we're doing with our study now is looking at size of the master meter versus the meter equivalents versus, which is how many units are on that meter. So we're looking at the gallons that are allowed by the number of households in that development.
You think our meter's equivalent, or you think we might need a bigger one?
I don't know.
You don't-
Look
we don't
at it
know?
and see.
We've already known by looking at the previous bills where it's been going.
No, this has something else to do with the,
Where the tiers would kick
for
in.
the tiers for the commercial application and residential.
Well, right now, correct me if I'm wrong, the tiers are the same for commercial and residential. That has come together. So they're the same for both applications, and it just comes down to your meter and size, your
How much
opening.
property you have.
I say we just start drilling
Well,
wells.
that's one of the things, because we have so much property that's open,
JT.
we think like we get penalized.
That's his
for that,
name.
And that's why we get
That's
thrown
his cell
into
phone
these
number.
high
Okay, perfect.
thresholds.
He lives
It's not
on
like we're
Ivory Stone
wasting
somewhere.
water.
I'll find out where he lives.
I think we should be getting charged a
Give
more
him-
straight line amount of the
I'll
cost.
give him
of
an
the
email and tell him that you're gonna be.
And we maintain that Route
Make
82
this work.
corridor.
Once I see, there's a lot of.
Before Hampton Park,
I don't start until I know.
I
that
drove
money's
around this
somewhere.
area. I couldn't find another community that had that kind of responsibility that we did to maintain that berm out there that effectively is the perimeter of Gateway, not just Stony Brook. And I just thought we should have been getting a break on it, or some kind of flat tier, something.
That's just between you and the CDD. I'm not gonna go there.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not fair. And one way to make the point is to shut the water off.
We could buy a piece of property across 82 and then pump it underneath and just have our own well.
Maybe when it was a 2-lane road, can you imagine getting the line underneath that now?
Yeah. you're not
Thank
going-
God we got
you're
the
going
gas
under
line
it now.
Oh my gosh, that gas line thing was a good score.
And it's about 25 grand a year. Saves us. What was I gonna say? That's a discussion for another.
I was gonna bring up what Angela brought up also, the irrigation. I know it was stolen from me at the Meet the Candidates night. But yes, I've been talking about that for 6 months now, plus. You didn't steal it. Steve did.
We've been talking about it for a couple of years.
I know. You didn't steal it.
And I probably started it before that.
Steve stole it from me.
And I spoke to Mike, that you met from Landcare, to ask him if they can put a valve in so we can shut off the 82 side of the berm. Still water, the Stoneybrook side.
I think the quickest thing we
And he
could probably,
thinks that should be a very
Should be doable.
easy thing to do.
I think the
I
quickest
don't
thing we
mind
could,
the idea.
I think the quickest thing,
Because as far as I'm concerned, if Gateway's concerned about what it looks like out there, they should be working with us then to keep that work. That shouldn't all be on us.
Correct.
Absolutely, because it's not a Stoneybrook sign, it says Gateway out there.
Well, don't go, the history of
Well, I
that
know
is,
that
I
some of
told them to put that
I
up
know.
because they wanted to charge us to fix it some years ago.
so what about looking into getting just a new a control panel that we can actually maintain and shut off when we have rain for 3 days in Stoneybrook, and we can let it sit there for no watering for a week, knowing that it just got saturated.
Yeah.
I do that with my house because I have such a large
Because
yard,
those water testers
and,
don't work.
and my yard is definitely, I've saved a lot of money in irrigation now that I keep it on it, and I don't just have it automatically running like I
Well,
should.
it's a threshold. You don't have to cut back that much water to save a lot of money.
On my yard, you do.
No, but I'm saying, really, when you get above that threshold, you don't have to use that much water. It can be more expensive for that incremental additional water than all the water you used prior to going up to that.
Yeah, but I always hit that third tier.
I know. That's what I'm basically
I
saying.
have 8 zones. How many do you have in your house?
I got 4 or 5.
Yeah, there's 4.
Yeah.
They could probably do it with 3.
I have 8.
In any case,
Would we have to approach the board of
I like the
supervisors
idea of a valve. I do, something to isolate.
to see if we
Inside
can have
from
that one
outside.
disconnected or make them
See
pick
what he
one?
found out. He's gonna have to look at it. He thinks he can just put it like a 1-inch or 2-inch valve over there.
And I'll say it again, understand, that's HOA money. That's not us, you know? So it really isn't for our agenda to put it here, because we have nothing to
Okay.
do with that irrigation out there. And as far as the bill for the electricity, we're involved only because of the fact that it should have been the CDD in the first place for that. But generally speaking, that really is, once again, the HOA's got to get involved with that. That they probably have to be the one that contacts that bill.
I just see where our dues would go up eventually because our fees, our HOA fees are gonna have to go up to cover up these tiers eventually.
I don't know.
Never,
We'll see.
never.
Our dues will never go up
I'm
again.
seeing it, I'm seeing it.
All right, anybody else got anything there? Chris?
Move to adjourn.
I'm good.
That's
I need a
it.
motion. All right, we got a motion from Warren
Seconded by
to,
Angela.
and seconded by, who?
Angela.
Oh,
We
Angela
both
got
did.
it?
She
We
jumped
both
on
did.
it. She
Jan-
jumped
We'll
the
give it-
second.
I'll give
whoever
it to
was.
Angela this time. I gave it to you the first time around. So Angela to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're done. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for once again.
4:12
Adjourned at
PM,
7:05.
adjourned.
There.